Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the UroPatient podcast. I'm your host, Vic Sinise, and welcome to the show. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, welcome to the show. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. The best place to go to learn more about the show is UroPatient.com. That's where our website is, and you'll be able to find more information about the show. It's also the best place to go if you want to download any of our handouts. They're all available for you. We do have a Facebook group. You can find us on the UroPatient podcast under Facebook, or just go to our website and click our Facebook link. It'll take you right into that podcast. So we're going to be talking about bladder diaries today. So we're going to get right into that show and discuss what's a bladder diary and what do you do with it and why is it important. And I hope you'll learn a few things here today. So first of all, the unsolved mysteries of the bladder diary. Bladder diary, what is it? Well, basically, it's a record that you, the patient, keeps and brings to the office. I usually recommend that you do this for 2 to 3 days. Do they have to be in a row? Absolutely not. So pick 2 or 3 days that you can try to get a good representation. So maybe the day you're at work isn't the best day because you can't do all the recording, but you're going to keep track of various aspects of your bladder function and urinary habits. So 3 days is ideal, 2 to 3 days minimal. Nothing to it. So the first thing you're going to do is want to make sure you record any fluid that you're taking in. We need to know how much you're taking in. So if it's a measurable thing, like it has an ounces on the bottle, write it down. The type of fluid matters too. Is this pop that you're drinking, coffee, water, can make a big difference. So that information, and then the time you're drinking it too, because we want to see when you're consuming these fluids throughout the day. We're looking at a 24-hour day. Now, the other thing we need to keep track of is your urine output. How much urine are you actually making? So you do need some kind of a measuring device. Often our office, we give patients a little measuring beaker that they can use if you don't have one. If you've got something at home that you can use that to measure it, it's kind of important that you capture your urine and get a good, accurate amount. And you want to record not only the amount, but the time. So that's really valuable. Also, were you able to take your time getting to the bathroom, or did you have a strong urge? You had to rush to the bathroom. Important to make notice of that. Any issues where you leaked urine, even a little bit or a lot, kind of make a note of when that occurred, how much it was, just a few drops, had to change your clothes, that type of thing. Important information to know. Are there certain activities, is it, when you're running, skipping, or just, anything, going to the gym, those activities that you seem to have leakage of urine, mark that down. There's some things we call trigger events. So some patients complain, they get home and as soon as they put the key in the door, they got to go to the bathroom. They got to rush. So it's an event that kind of triggers the urge to go. It has nothing to do with keys, by the way. And so here's what it looks like. It's just a single sheet of paper. It's got enough spaces that you can record when you go and how much and all those things we talked about. And then you bring that into your healthcare team and they can look at this and make judgments based on what information they get. It's amazing sometimes the information and kind of the way it can point us in the right direction for care. Now here's a little example. So mystery solved. Patient comes in and we look and we see that they're drinking a lot of fluids. So they're urinating a lot of volume. Well, some patients don't always realize that if you drink a lot, you're going to urinate a lot. And sometimes it can be as simple as saying, listen, you're probably drinking too much fluid. Why don't you cut back? Or maybe you're drinking too much at night. That's why you're getting up in the middle of the night, right? Before you go to bed, that type of thing. We can see patterns that you may not recognize. Real important. Now, here's another different scenario. We look in the volume's normal or maybe even low, but their volume out is still high. What's going on here? Well, again, we look at this and we say, there may be some other issues going on. Look at the medication list. Maybe there's a medication that's causing excessive urination. Maybe they don't know it, but they've got diabetes. We'll want to look at their urine and see if there's any sugar in their urine, because one of the ways the body tries to cope with that high blood sugar is to try to get it out through the urine. So again, mystery solved, just looking at a simple bladder diary. If you watched last week's show, we talked about certain foods for certain people that can cause irritation and frequency and urgency of the bladder. So we look at what type of food you're taking in. Maybe you've got some of those trigger foods that you're getting. So that could be your cause. And again, we did talk about triggering events. Sometimes, now, of course, you can't eliminate opening your door, but just knowing that kind of tells us this may be more of a neurological problem rather than a physical problem. So again, these are things that are really important to your healthcare workers. Again, was there an event, exercise, that type of thing could lead us to looking more at a stress incontinence versus an urge incontinence. Fancy words that we use, but it means a lot to us. So here's the best part. You can download this for free on our website, perfectly free. Take it, make several copies. Like I said, each one is probably good for a day's worth of information. And then just go to our UroPatient.com website, bring that in, 3 days worth of voiding diaries to your doctor's office. I guarantee they're going to be happy to see it and glad that you did that. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Hope it's informative. Start working on those bladder diaries. It's going to show us a lot of information. And tune in next week. Next week, we're going to talk about what is a cystoscopy. This is a test we do in our office all the time. But maybe you've never had one done or you're worried about it. Remember those 5 H's. We'll talk about those. We'll see everybody next week. So have a great rest of your week.